Kaldırmayacağım Fatih.
Ya Cemre için zaten biz konuşmak zorundayız.
Fatih bak Cemre için arayacağını bilsem sadece neyse kaldırayım engelini. Ama sen yüzsüz gibi habire arayacaksın.
Tamam söz veriyorum aramayacağım. Lütfen kaldır şu engeli. Ya Cemre'ye geldim götüreceğim şimdi belki bir şey için konuşmam gerekecek. Ya haber vermem gerekecek ne yapacağız o zaman?
Alma o zaman Fatih. Evde zaman geçirin.
Ha. Tamam bana göre.
The most widely discussed topics among television viewers. After months of dramatic developments, cast changes, emotional departures, and increasingly intense speculation surrounding some of the show's best-known characters, a new question has begun dominating fan discussions. Is Kızılcık Şerbeti really coming to an end? The question became even more complicated after reports and social media discussions surrounding Feyza Çivilek, who plays Nilay, and Karakoç, who plays Nursema. For a series that has built much of its identity around its large ensemble cast, the possibility of losing major characters naturally created concern among viewers. However, the situation requires an important distinction between confirmed information, reported developments, and speculation. As of August 13th, 2026, there is strong evidence that Kızılcık Şerbeti is not simply disappearing after its fourth season. In fact, reports published in July indicated preparations for a fifth season, including information about the production schedule and the expected return of the series. That does not mean the show is immune from major changes. Quite the opposite. The fifth season is expected to begin under very different circumstances from the earlier years of the drama. And that is precisely why the early finale rumors have become so powerful. A series that has already survived major cast changes. Since its debut, Kızılcık Şerbeti has depended heavily on the chemistry between its characters. The series brought together two families with dramatically different social and cultural perspectives and used their relationships to create conflicts involving marriage, family expectations, personal freedom, generational differences, and social pressure. The success of the series has never depended on one character alone. Nevertheless, certain characters became closely associated with the show's identity. Among them were Nilay, played by Feyza Çivilek, and Nursema, played by Karakoç. Their stories became important parts of the show's emotional structure. That is why any suggestion that either actress might leave naturally produces a much larger reaction than an ordinary supporting cast departure. The fourth season itself demonstrated how vulnerable the show's cast structure could become. Major characters disappeared, new characters were introduced, and established relationships were repeatedly reorganized. By the time the fourth season finale aired in May 2026, viewers were already asking whether the series could continue indefinitely with such a constantly changing cast. Show TV officially described the May 22nd episode as the fourth season finale. The episode continued the show's strong audience performance, receiving a 6.32 rating and 16.40 share in the total category, 6.18 rating and 16.79 share in ABC1, and 5.48 rating and 16.95 share in AB. Those figures are important because they demonstrate that the program still had a significant audience. In other words, the idea of an immediate cancellation simply because several characters were facing changes does not fit the available evidence. Why the final rumors became so strong? The current rumors have several different origins. First, viewers have become increasingly sensitive to cast departures. Second, the fourth season finale contained major developments that made the future of several characters uncertain. Third, Feyza Çivilek became the center of a major controversy during the summer. Fourth, producer Faruk Turgut made comments that were widely interpreted as suggesting that the future of the series could be closely connected to the future of Feyza Çivilek's character. According to a June 28th report by Sözcü, Turgut said that the departure of Feyza Çivilek could potentially have consequences for the continuation of the series, with the report quoting him as saying, in essence, that the series could end if Faiza left. That statement immediately transformed an ordinary casting discussion into a much larger question. If one actress leaving could theoretically threaten the entire series, fans naturally began asking, how stable is the show really? Faiza Çivilek and the Nile question. Faiza Çivilek's Nile has been one of the recognizable figures in Kızılcık Şerbeti. Nile's story has never been straightforward. The character has frequently been involved in family conflicts, personal ambitions, and emotional complications. Her relationship with Mustafa and her place inside the Ünal family have provided the series with numerous dramatic possibilities. Because of that, removing Nile would not simply mean replacing one performer. It would mean rewriting an entire section of the show's family structure. That is one reason why the question surrounding Faiza Çivilek became so significant. Reports in June stated that Çivilek's drug test had returned positive following an investigation involving celebrities. The story generated substantial public discussion, while viewers began speculating about whether the actress would remain in the series. But speculation about an actor's future should not automatically be treated as confirmation of a departure. That distinction is particularly important here. Melis Çivilek responds. The controversy became even more interesting because Faiza Çivilek's mother, screenwriter Melis Çivilek, is also the writer of Kızılcık Şerbeti. That relationship became a major point of discussion on social media. Some users began claiming that Melis Çivilek would refuse to continue writing the series if her daughter were removed. Melis Çivilek publicly rejected that claim. According to Sosku's report, she explained that writers create stories, characters may come and go, and professional decisions regarding characters are separate from personal relationships. She specifically denied claims that she would stop writing the series because of her daughter's character. This statement is significant. It means the theory that the entire series would automatically collapse if Nile disappeared was not presented by the writer herself as a reality. Instead, it was a social media claim that she described as unfounded. What does this mean for Nile? The most reasonable conclusion is that Nile's future became uncertain, but uncertainty is not the same thing as a confirmed exit. This distinction is crucial for entertainment reporting. Television productions frequently use temporary absences, story changes, character transformations, and even apparent exits to create suspense. A character can disappear for several episodes and return. A character can leave a family without leaving the show. A character can be written into a new storyline. And sometimes a departure rumor becomes a major publicity event, even though the actor ultimately remains. Therefore, viewers should be cautious about headlines presenting Nile's departure as a completed fact, unless an official announcement confirms it. The Seren Karakoç situation is different. Seren Yalazoglu. Karakoç's situation generated its own wave of speculation. The actress plays Nursema, a character whose storyline has repeatedly placed her at the center of some of the series' most dramatic developments. In April 2026, a major fire storyline led viewers to fear that Nursema might die. The promotional material showed Nursema and Ulvi trapped during a fire, while Asil risked his life attempting to rescue her. Reports at the time acknowledged that the storyline triggered questions about whether Karakoç would leave the show, but also noted that there was no official farewell announcement. That pattern is familiar to Kızılcık Şerbeti viewers. The series often uses extreme situations to make audiences believe that a character's story may be ending. Then the next episode changes everything. The same thing happened with Nursema. Rather than functioning as an obvious goodbye, the dangerous storyline became another major turning point for her character. The season finale made the Nursema question even bigger. The fourth season finale introduced another dramatic development involving Nursema. According to reports following the May 2026 finale, Nursema travelled with Ilhami toward Kastamonu, intending to begin a different life. During the journey, however, she decided that she could no longer continue the relationship. Then came the accident. The crash immediately triggered another round of "Is Nursema dead?" and "Is Karen Karakoç leaving?" speculation. But reports following the finale indicated that Nursema was not expected to be permanently removed from the story and that Karakoç's departure was not confirmed. That matters greatly when considering the current final rumours. If Nursema's story were genuinely being written toward an immediate exit, the production would have had an opportunity to confirm it during the season finale. Instead, the character remained part of the unresolved dramatic structure heading into the next season. The 5th season is the biggest argument against an early final. Perhaps the most important piece of information is the reported preparation for Season 5. A July 23rd report stated that the 5th season schedule had been determined, including production preparations and an expected broadcast timeline. The report also noted that Feyza Çivilek's future remained a subject of curiosity. This fundamentally changes the question. Rather than asking, "Is the series ending now?" the more accurate question is, what will the 5th season look like after all these changes? That is a very different issue. A series can survive cast departures. It can survive character exits. It can survive a change in tone. What is much more difficult is maintaining audience interest when too many central relationships disappear at once. That is the real challenge facing Kızılcık Şerbeti. Why fans feel that the series is approaching its end. There is also a psychological reason behind the current final rumours. Many long-running television dramas eventually reach a point where viewers feel that the original identity of the series has changed. Kızılcık Şerbeti is no exception. Online fan discussions increasingly compare the current seasons with the earlier episodes. Some viewers argue that the show has become less recognizable because of repeated cast changes. Others believe the constant introduction of new characters has diluted the original family-centered dynamic. There are also fans who argue that the series remains entertaining precisely because it continues reinventing itself. These competing opinions are important because they show that the final debate is not simply about ratings, it is about identity. The original formula. At the beginning, the central attraction was relatively clear. Kıvılcım represented one worldview. Abdullah's family represented another. Doğa and Fatih's relationship brought the two worlds together. From there, the series developed increasingly complicated relationships involving parents, children, spouses, and extended family members. The drama was successful because it made ideological differences personal. Instead of presenting abstract debates, it showed how those differences affected marriages, parenting, love, and family expectations. That formula gave the series a strong emotional foundation. But after several seasons, maintaining the same structure became increasingly difficult. Characters changed, actors left, new relationships appeared. Old conflicts were resolved and replaced by new ones. Eventually, the series began to look very different from the program viewers first discovered. Can a drama survive without its original cast? Absolutely. Television history provides countless examples of successful series surviving cast changes. But there is a limit. When too many major characters disappear simultaneously, viewers can feel that they are watching a different series with the same title. That is the danger facing Kızılcık Şerbeti. The departure of one character is manageable. The departure of several major characters creates a structural problem. The audience must emotionally connect with replacements. New actors must develop chemistry with established performers. New characters must have believable motivations. And writers must find new conflicts without simply repeating old ones. That is not easy. The importance of nile occupies a particularly interesting position in this structure. Unlike a purely heroic or purely villainous character, Nile has frequently operated in morally complicated territory. That complexity makes her useful dramatically. She can generate conflict inside the family. She can create misunderstandings. She can produce comic moments. She can also become emotionally vulnerable. This versatility makes the character valuable to the writers. If